Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Release Party Thursday. So excited to have you all here and so excited for our guest who will be coming on today to share some of the features from the February VS Code release. I see we already have a couple of people who have been waiting for this. So Sarma and Dee's Computer World. I hope it'll be worth the wait, and it will be. And David, always excited to see you in the chat. You always post your guesses. So TypeScript 5.0, new profile features, and PyTest IntelliSense support. We'll see what's in tune. We actually have been posting a thumbnail that includes some of the updates that we're going to be talking about. So we do spoil it a little bit, but I love that you're unspoiled and can still guess. Hello, everyone in the chat. MZ Lennis, how's it going? Hi. Oh, I love the little emoji. That's great. So excited to have you all here. We have a very exciting schedule lined up for you. If you all are new to the release parties, what we do once a month is we will bring on the engineers, PMs, people who worked on the features to actually demo what is new in the latest VS Code release. So we do this once a month. It's really fun. We love to hear all of your questions in the chat. So make this as interactive as possible because this is your chance to interact directly with the VS Code team members and hear about all the features that are top of mind and sometimes even get a sneak peek into what the roadmap is ahead. Hi, everyone. Cheers, Jay. Okay. We've got a lot of great energy already in the chat. Very excited. Hello to all of you. I'm not going to be able to show every single person on the screen. But before we kick things off, I do want to go ahead and say thank you to our contributors. So with that, I love that little animation. Okay, so at the bottom of our release notes every month, you may have noticed that we always have a thank you section. And that is because VS Code is open source. We rely heavily on contributors, and it really wouldn't be the product that it is without you all. So we like to take a chance to just scroll through this list real quick and say thank you to everyone who contributed this month. So you'll see that there's a long list of people. Can't call everyone out at the same time, but a quick scroll through. If you're watching, thank you so much for your contributions. Pull requests to the VS Code repo, to the GitHub pull request repo, VSCE, and the Monaco editor. So thank you all so much for contributing. We really appreciate you all and are so excited to have you as part of our community. So with that, we got Dee's Computer World, the best code editor, VS Code. You know what? I totally agree. It is the best code editor. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and dive into our guest today. So we have a very special guest to start with, and let's go ahead and bring on Burke. You may recognize him from our other live streams.
I feel like people are so disappointed now.
Like, oh, Burke, really? We see him like already once or twice a month.
I know. I thought it was going to be Scott Hanselman. It's this guy again.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
No, it's this guy. Okay, cool. How's it going, Burke?
It's going well. Thank you for having me on your wonderful show. I appreciate it. Hi, chat. Good to see everybody.
Anytime. I like your you rainbowized the @ symbol.
I did. Yeah, I was feverishly working away on my LEDs that I have adorned my office with so that I can be cool. I just want to be cool, chat. I'm trying so hard.
Chat is for cool. Question number one.
Don't answer, please. Don't answer that.
I think
nobody dropped. Yeah.
Okay, so we have Burke on. If you have been watching these probably it's been like 6 months or so. It's been a while, but we had him on a few months ago to basically demo a lot of like little things that we've done throughout past releases that maybe don't make into the release party, but are still really cool features. So I asked Burke to come back on to do that again because we've had a couple of really great things from the past couple of releases that I think y'all will be excited about.
Awesome. Yeah, This is a segment called The Little Things, and I can't share my own screen because I'm not logged in. Hey, what's up, Fritz? What's up, Ahmad? Good to see you. Hi, how are you? Fritz is here. He's a special guest. All right. Let's see here. So we've got, as Olivia said, we ship a lot of things to you, and we try to highlight the stuff that we think is like, I don't want to say important, everything's important, but like the big stuff. And that's hard to do, right, Olivia? It's not always easy to figure out.
Yeah.
Right, because we can't. So in this segment, what I'm going to do is go back through and show y'all from, we're going all the way back to, I got a January 2023. So all the way back to November, actually, of last year with some small things that we've added that you may have missed. Okay. So the first one is that for a while, we've been able to move these views around. So for instance, the one that I usually, it's not even over here, but like the debug console, which is, it's usually right here. It's in the bottom. That's what it's supposed to be. But you can take these things and drag them around to different parts of the editor. And this, you've been able to do this for a while, right? So you can customize and put views, they're called views, put them where you want. But one of the views that you can't move is the Explorer view, right? So this has been fixed, but now you can. I don't know why you would, but you can. So if you want your files in the bottom here, hey, have at it. Another place you might want to put them is if you want them in like the secondary sidebar, put a 1 in chat if you're a secondary sidebar user. Put a 0 if you never touch it. I'm curious.
I never touch it. 0 for me.
You never do?
No.
So you can put the active editor over here. So what's nice is a lot of people will put the outline and the files together over here, which is quite nice. So you can now move the Explorer bar wherever you like. We got a 1, we got a 0.
We got a left sidebar user. C# Fritz.
Yeah. One man punch. Yes. Fritz knows. He sees the shirt. Are you playing, Fritz? Are you playing I don't even know what the 1 man punch. Y'all, it's an Overwatch thing.
Okay.
Oh, One Punch Mac. Oh, he's talking about something else. So yeah, there's an Overwatch thing going on right now called 1 Man Punch for David Fest.
Overwatch on the mind.
Yeah, Overwatch on the mind. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. Okay, so, and then you can move these views back. I don't remember how. Reset views? Where's the reset views? Views.
If you,
views, reset views. Reset view.
View locations, yeah. Okay.
There we go. So if you panic because you lost one of your views, you just do that. Okay. Yes, we also have updated this remote menu. So this thing down here in the bottom, remote is the remote indicator. 1 in chat if you use any sort of remote extensions. And if you're curious about what those are, you can now go into this right here. So what we've done is we've removed a bunch of the options. So this list used to be forever long. And actually, when we did the Code Spaces talk at GitHub Universe, this bit me because I couldn't find my option because it was like too many in here. Mm-hmm. So we've pulled a lot of them. If you want to get to all of them for, like, say, Code Spaces, then you would just use the command palette like you normally do, right? Code Spaces, and then you'll see all of the Code Spaces options instead of us putting them all in the remote menu. Also, if you go down to the bottom, you can install additional extensions, and we will show you. So I have all of these installed. If I install remote repositories, then that option will no longer show up in this menu, right? So we're not showing you things that you don't need to see anymore. So those are improvements to the remote indicator.
Sweet. We have one. Ahmad is remote export, does tunnels. Love remote tunnels. No other remote developers in here? There's no way. I love remote.
Code Spaces. Code Spaces is considered remote. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got a couple of them right here going. By the way, y'all know Code Spaces is, you get like 60 hours free for everyone, which is a lot. You'd be hard pressed to hit that number. Yeah, it's nice. All right, friendly reminder. Okay, next. These badges are super there. You can see them on my phone. So on my iPad, y'all, on my messages has like, I don't know, 58. It says 58 unread messages, but actually there's none. Okay, so that's a bug on my iPad, but sometimes I just wish that badge would go away. That's what I'm trying to say. So you can do that now. Not that you should do this, but you can just do hide badge. If you don't want to see the badge, you can hide the badge. All right, so there you go. Don't do that though. You need to know how many files you have pending, but I'm sure you have a good reason for hiding badges. Now you can do it.
Yeah, it's too. Yeah, sometimes I just, I want a nice, sleek, minimal experience. Like I don't need that extra stimulation.
Yeah, sure, but you can't hide it on this one. So I noticed that because I was was like, oh, cool. I want to hide this. I can't do that. Sorry. Maybe in another release. Okay. Another one is, and this one I didn't even know was a problem, but you can now resize multiple views at the same time. So I guess prior, like you could only go up and down or left and right, but you couldn't go up and down and left and right at the same time. Is that, do I understand?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like basically you'd have to do multiple clicks to kind of do it all. So if you're like, oh, I just want this all to kind of move around, you couldn't. Yeah. Now you have the whole intersection you can control.
Yes. Yes. C# Fritz, 50,000 unread emails. Holy shnikes.
Could not do.
You might want to, declare email bankruptcy. All right.
Just start over. Delete it and just start over.
Right. Just send an email to your whole address book that's like, I didn't get your email, send it. Okay. Improved grid layout. Improved grid layout. I'm trying to remember exactly what the improved grid layout was. Oh yes, that's correct. I do recall. So when you have two files open, so let's open this file and then let's open this file here. Playwright config. No. Give me another file to open. This one, right? Two files. This one. All right, now we got two files open. Sheesh. And let's split to the right. Okay, so now we've got. We'll close this. So before, so you can take these things and like you can move this over. And I'm going to decrease font size here. And so now when you change the size of the view, notice that left column stays fixed, right? So, and the same thing is true. Like if we were to move this and do like this, now the right one stays fixed, right? So it just kind of knows, and yeah. So that's that.
Makes your
super exciting stuff. Yeah. Sorry, I'm moving along. I'm taking up like half the time. Okay. Find history in the tree view. So in the tree view, you can find things that not like that though. So let's find index.ts, right? Or maybe you're looking for package.json, and then you're looking for, I don't know, index.js, right? And then you're like, oh, shoot, what was I looking for before? So you can just do the up arrow to cycle back through your history items in the search, which is quite nice. We also have a new matching, which is contiguous matching. So before, if you type in TS here, you'll get what we call a fuzzy match. So we find any T and S, they don't have to be next to each other. But if you turn on contiguous, they have to be contiguous, which means they are next to each other. So now you just find those. So that's added as well.
Burke, we got some sidebar right fans in here. Evan said sidebar right changed my life.
I'm slowly converting the world. Okay, and then the last thing we have is, let's do this. So this is a Copilot thing, but it's kind of cool. So let's get rid of this. Let's do create a route to update. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, let's do that. So when you're using Copilot, you have this ghost text. If you hover over the ghost text, you see that there's this bar here. And so let's do another one here. And sometimes you'll have more than one suggestion. Here we only have one. Let's see if we can get it to give us more than one suggestion. Okay, two suggestions, which is here and here. So we have this new improved inline suggestions bar. And by the way, with Copilot, if you know this, you can accept one word at a time with Command or Control and just going back and forth. You can also make this bar persistent, although I'm not exactly sure. I forget the setting. It's what is it? Suggestions. Suggestions bar. Suggestions.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. But you can make. Look, the point is, y'all. I can't remember everything.
Show toolbar. Inline suggest. Show toolbar.
Yeah. Inline suggest. Show. Is that what it is?
Check out the release notes. It's in there.
Inline suggest. There we go. Okay, there we go. And you say thank you. Jeez, bailing me out. And then if we do that, then the toolbar is just always there. So if you're a heavy Copilot user like I am, you might want to turn that on, just so you can see your suggestions. And that is it. That is all the small things, as Blink-182 would say.
Burke, obligatory. What's the theme name?
Oh, this is GitHub Dark Dimmed.
People always love that one.
Yeah,
it's a great theme.
It's a crowd pleaser. All righty.
All right. Thanks, Burke. This was great.
Thank you for having me. This is so fun
to be able to see all the little things. Of course, yeah. Last time we had you on, everyone was pumped, said, give us more of the little things, give us more Burke. So I'm sure we'll have you on again, probably in a few months once we've wrapped up some of these things again.
Yeah, I'll see you in a year.
Yeah. All right. We'll see. All right. Thanks, Burke. All right. So that brings us to our next guest. All right, and we will have Sandeep up to talk to us a little bit about what's new with profiles. Hey, Sandeep.
Hey, Olivia. Nice to be back again.
I know. We had you last month and then back now. So excited to have you.
But pretty exciting, yeah.
Yeah, profiles are so cool. I'm so glad we can have you back to kind of, I think it's so fun to see when we like make something actually available and then you see the feedback come by in real time. Then the next month there's all these cool new updates to it. So I feel like this is so fun to be able to see the like actual iterative process firsthand.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty excited. I think we got very good feedback and also a lot of nice feature requests and bugs. So we are trying to improve it. And then here we are again with a couple of goodies for profiles.
Awesome. Cool. Let's see what you got for us this month.
Okay, so this is not what we have right now. This was already released in January 2023. So this is profiles feature, and in January 2023 we have given profiles where you can work in your desktop vscode. So if you have working on multiple projects in your local desktop, so you can switch profiles. But now we're gonna give the same functionality in remote. So what does it mean?
Let me know if you're using profiles since it came out too, because profiles are so powerful.
Yeah. So here is a sample project which is there in GitHub. So it is called Acne Fitness Store, and it is a bit complex project. So it has multiple technologies involved. For example, it has a Node.js front end. It has a Java backend and the .NET backend and also Python backend. So I'm a developer, where I do front end and backend. So how can I use profiles in this setup, and how will it help me? So this is what I'm going to show now. So I'll be using code spaces, which we already just mentioned before by Burke. So I'm creating a code space. So just go to the code, and then I already have a code space. I don't know how to create it, so I created one. So let me open that code space.
I love the random name generators of the code spaces. Glorious pancake. It's great.
Yeah. So here is my code space, which when I created from GitHub. So it set up everything on a dev container machine. So now I'm all up for developing my project. So, but as I said in the beginning, so it's a polyglot project, and I am a Java and JavaScript developer. So let me see how we can help me in setting up my Java setup easily. So I already have some profiles created for my Java development. So there is a Java Spring developer profile. I just go here and then click on this. So obviously I need to reload because of some extensions which we'll add and remove. So now, as you see, so my theme changed, my setup changed. You can see on the right side. So on the secondary sidebar, I have a couple of more views like projects, Java projects view, and then the other view from the Java, other views from the Java extension. So now I have all my Java extensions set up, and I can go and start working on my Java project, and then probably fix some bugs or introduce some bugs. Okay.
That's awesome. And you can see it reloads pretty quickly when you're doing it, right? Like it immediately changes your theme. You can see the extensions you now have installed. So it's a really seamless experience.
True. So similarly, I have a couple of more profiles because as I said, I'm also a JavaScript developer. I think it's just like mimicking what I've just shown. So I change the profile, and then I have different setup for my JavaScript project. Okay, so that's about how profiles are supported on remote workspaces. And other little thing which probably you would have noticed already who are using profiles before. So there is a small indicator where we should represent what profile it is. So you can see here a small batch. So it says JavaScript profile, and it takes the first 2 letters of your profile, and then we represent it here. And we also made it a little bit easy to actually switch profiles. You don't need to go here and say switch profile. So you can always use our awesome command palette. And then I say switch profile. Yes, boom, right? So you can always switch from here.
Nice. That was a very requested feature. I know we posted some things and everyone was like, wait, where's the command for it? So I think people are very excited for that one.
Exactly. So that's one thing. So one last thing, but very useful thing is we have come up with this new command called help profiles. Let's see what it does. This is it. So this is also one of the requests which a lot of people asked. We are actually was doing in this milestone. So this is the help guide, user guide for how to use profiles. So if you want to know what are all there in profiles, how to do, how to manage, how to create, what is included. So we have a guide for you, and you can access it from our command palette help.
Awesome. Yeah. So handy. Cool. So going back to the badges you were showing, is there any way to customize how those look?
Yes. So we have introduced 2 new color tokenizations or color settings. So this is I think it's profile. Yeah. So we have these 2 settings where you can change the. Let's try to change the background. Yeah. So you can change the background as you like.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And also the foreground.
So could you then even have, like, when you load different profiles, each profile has its own badge color essentially then?
Yeah, these settings are specific to profiles, so you can have different colors for your profiles.
Cool. That's kind of handy. So if you're more, color focused, that might be a good way to kind of indicate to you, oh, hey, I'm in this profile. I love that. Cool.
Yeah.
And kind of talking about the remote development in your profiles, what remote data is actually included in profiles?
So in remote, so we it's all the data that was there in the profiles is included, like settings, extension, settings, key bindings, everything. And in addition, so we also have remote extensions now is included a part of the remote profiles, except remote settings. What I mean by that is if you go to the settings, so we have user settings and remote settings. These are machine settings. So these are not part of your profile because these are scoped to the machine. So these settings will be applied across profiles.
Awesome. Okay, so there's one question in the chat that I think you can speak to. So Hans said, I can't wait for profile inheritance. Is there an ETA for that? And Burke actually kind of has a follow-up about, well, you can start with an existing one by extending. When you create a new one, you'd be like, hey, extend from this profile. How is that different? So I was wondering if, one, you could talk about the meaning behind the ask, and then 2, the ETA on it.
Oh, yeah. So extension, there is no clear inheritance. So as Burke said, you can always create a profile from an existing profile, but there is no any relation between these 2 after creation. But I think the inheritance of the profiles is a highly requested feature in the last 2 months. So I think right now we are trying to collect the feedback because there is a lot of things involved in the inheritance and a lot of different features involved. So we want to digest what everyone wants for, and then probably come up with the right solution.
Awesome. Cool. And there's an issue that's being tracked, right, on the repo that kind of okay. Yeah. So Hans, definitely look at that issue on the GitHub repo if you're curious about the status of it. But as Sandeep said, it's definitely something the team's thinking about and looking into. Cool. Great. All right. Well, Sandeep, these are such great features. Is there anything else you want to show or talk about with the future profiles?
No, I think that's all for it. I'm very happy to be here.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. As always, I'm sure we'll have you back in future ones as well. Maybe once that inheritance is up.
Definitely.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. So next up, we will be having Matt come on. Hey, Matt.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Oh, doing pretty well.
Good. I know it's early there. For
yes. Yeah.
Get your cup of coffee with the release party.
Yep. Nice way to wake up here.
Exactly. Yeah. Get the energy flowing. All right. So what do you have to show for us today?
So I'm going to be talking a little about a new feature in Markdown, which can help with writing documentation. So if you've been writing documentation, sometimes you'll need to create a link to a specific header that exists somewhere else in your documentation. But the problem I always was running into is I would never remember the exact file that I wanted to link to, or I wouldn't remember the exact file path, which it's kind of a pain to type out the entire thing. So we have some new features that will make this a whole lot easier. So I'm here in the VS Code docs, and let's say I want to create a link to a refactoring article here. So I'm going to create my link. So let's say refactor. And then we're going to go in here, and inside the link destination, I'm just going to say 2 £signs here. And now it's going to show links to different headers. So you'll see at the top of the document, these are just links to ones in the current file. So we have headers in the current file that I can link to. But if I start typing here with these 2 £signs, and I need to fix this spelling at some point, you'll see that we're now actually getting suggestions for headers throughout the entire workspace. So what it is doing behind the scenes is actually going and looking at all of these suggestions throughout Markdown files in the workspace, finding all of the headers, and finding ones that include the word refactoring in them and suggesting those. So let's say we wanted to link over to the JavaScript refactoring section here. So we can see that the suggestion is saying link to this header in javascript.md. I'll just press enter to accept that suggestion. And I'll also go and fix that. And now we've created a link to that specific header. And if I click on this, you can see it's jumped directly to that header. Again, the nice thing about this is that I didn't need to remember exactly where that file is. I just had to remember what the header was called. And I could even go and suggest or find a more complex one here. So if we wanted to go to the Java refactoring one, so I could say down here, just click on this one, and you can see that it's inserted a more complex path. In this case, it's going to the Java refactoring section.
This is so handy because I feel like, I mean, anyone who has worked with Markdown links, if you've just looked at really even the last few releases, there's been so many strides in just making it as easy from, checking broken links, refactoring if you change a link. And then now we have a really easy way to link to headers and other files, because I know I'm the same way, Matt, where I just have no idea what something's called. I don't remember what file it was in. And so being able to see that list of, okay, everything that's there is so handy. Is there anything that people need to do to turn that on, or will it just automatically work?
So this feature is enabled by default. Okay. So if you go into a Markdown link, and it can be any style of link, if you type a single #, it's going to show suggestions just for the current document. So these are going to be provided very quickly. You don't need to worry about it going and indexing anything. If you want to see the suggestions for files across your workspace, you type that second #. And we're sort of using that as an indication that, hey, we should go get all the headers in the current workspace. You'll notice it was pretty quick here, even in the VS Code docs project, which has thousands of Markdown files. It will actually cache that information behind the scenes. So it's not recomputing it every time, but it might be a little bit slow the very first time you trigger it. So with these 2 #, now it should start showing suggestions across the entire workspace, and you can just start typing. So again, I can do refactor. I could do just see if there's anything about JavaScript. And if you're not seeing any suggestions, just try pressing or try triggering the suggestions manually. So you can use Control Space to trigger the suggestions manually, and then you should see these suggestions showing up again. So again, I can just accept that, and now it's created a link to that specific header in this other Markdown file.
That's so handy. Awesome.
And then one other tip is, let's say you really like this feature and want it to be showing all the time. So you don't want to have to type those 2 #. You want to just type the single hash and always get these showing up. There's actually a suggestion for that. So I'm going to do Markdown project, or suggest actually here. We want the Markdown suggest paths include workspace header completions. And right now it's set to on double hash, but we could either disable this feature entirely, which will mean that we can get rid of this, or we can say on single or double hash. So if we go in here and do on single or double hash, now when we type this and say refactor, get those same suggestions that we're seeing before just by typing a single hash. The downside of this is, and the reason we don't have it on by default, is that it's going to go and compute those suggestions every time you're wanting to, every time you just type a single #. So even if you're just linking to a header in the current workspace, it's still going to have to go and complete those. But if you're using this setting quite often and your workspace doesn't include a crazy number of Markdown files, you might want to consider actually turning on this setting. And then you can see all of these nice cross-file suggestions showing up automatically.
Cool. That's awesome. I love how it kind of, caters to whatever your workflow is for that. And we have a bunch of love in the chat. That's awesome. Nice. Whoa. So people are excited for this. One kind of related note is, what spell checker are you using? It's squiggled under your refactor.
I think it's the street side software one. I don't remember the exact name of it, but it's called something like spell check or something like that.
Right. Okay, cool. So Trent, look up the spell check one. Okay, cool. So Matt, is there anything else that you want to show with Markdown, or anything on the roadmap that you want to chat about?
Yeah, I think one really helpful feature that I always want to call out is that you can get link validation. And if I go and actually break this here, this can go and validate that the path is actually existing in my workspace. The way to turn that on, just to remind people, so we could say validate here in the settings. So we want the Markdown validate setting. It is off by default, but once you turn it on, you'll start getting all of these helpful suggestions when you accidentally break a link. Some things that are on the roadmap. So here you'll notice that when it inserted the link here, it actually added the .md file extension, and then it's using a relative path. So I'm looking into, we already actually have a setting that lets you exclude the .md here. So if you prefer a style where it's going to do this, you can instead insert links that way. And then also potentially using absolute paths. So that would be helpful for some people that prefer that style for their Markdown links. So a lot of interesting things on the roadmap and some great existing features. If you're wanting to see a list of all the Markdown features, just go to our Markdown docs page, and it has a pretty good summary of everything that currently exists.
Okay, awesome. I feel like people don't even understand the power that VS Code has with Markdown. It's insane. Jay agrees. That is so cool with Markdown. All right. Well, thank you, Matt. If you don't have anything else to share, we really appreciate you coming on to show that. Everyone definitely check out the docs to see even more of the power of Markdown and VS Code. And Matt, I'm sure we'll have you on in the future to talk more Markdown.
Yep. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. And that brings us to our final guest, Peng, who will be talking about some Jupyter updates. Hello, hello. How are
Hi,
you
Olivia.
doing?
Thanks. You're good. Thanks for inviting me. That's
Of
my
course,
first
yeah.
release party.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love when we have first-time people because it's always good to be able to just kind of introduce y'all. We have the best community who comes onto these release parties, and everyone loves to see the different engineers. So I love when we can kind of loop new people in. So that way chat can get a chance to actually interact with y'all. So thanks so much for coming on.
Right. Thank you. You know, my colleague Rob, right, he gave great introductions to Jupyter notebooks in previous release parties, like 71 and 74. So if your notebooks are new to you, right, check that out. Or if you just miss Rob, checking out those videos. And,
Rob is great.
I'm honored to be here today to share with some updates we made to the Jupyter or notebook support in VS Code.
Okay, cool. Well, let's get started then.
Yeah, let's jump in. The first improvement we made is to the kernel picker. So, like when I'm working with notebooks, right, it's really crucial to pick the right execution environment for your code, right? Whether it's like Julia or R, or like here, I'm using Python. And once you open a notebook, right, on the top right corner, you will see a button. That one will open a kernel picker. And in the past, we will show all the available Jupyter kernels on your system. So show all of them in this list. And then, if you have a lot of global Python interpreters, countdown environments, or virtual environments, right, picking the right one from a full list can be really overwhelming.
Yes.
And based on the feedback from users, right, it's sometimes can be confusing. So starting from December, we started looking into this new mode called MRU, or most recently used kernel list. And we will only show, the kernels you used recently. Like here, I only have 4. And the rest of kernels are all moved into a secondary list, which is select another kernel. So once you go to this list, you can see that all the kernels are grouped based on their types, right? The names of the groups explains themselves, right? If you have like the traditional Jupyter kernels, they're in the second list. And then all my Python environments all end up with the first one. And somehow, I don't know how I end up with such a long list. But then if every time say this is a new workspace and I want to use a fresh environment for this particular workspace, right? I can still use this action at the top to create a new environment. And also if you have a Jupyter server running remotely, now you can connect to it directly from this kernel picker. And all you need to do is just provide this link. And we provide the link and token saying you are good to go. And if any of these options is new to you, right, you can use, there's an info link on the right side, which will open the documentation. So to learn more. Yeah, and we have been testing this for the last couple of months, and now it's the default mode on VS Code stable. Yeah, everyone will be using the MRU kernel picker.
That's so handy. Well, I think that the MRU kernel picker is definitely the way to go. What if people kind of want to go back to almost like the old way where it just kind of shows the full list of kernels? Is there a way to do that?
Yeah, if you're not like crazy like my setup, right? You only have a couple, right? You may say, okay, why bother? So you can still customize the layout. And I think there's a setting called kernel picker. Then you can switch that to all, which give you a full list. But with you using notebooks more, you might end up with a long list, right? So I still highly recommend MRU mode. And if you find it's running to pain points, right, let us know, and we can keep improving it.
Awesome. We've got Arcane saying this is amazing. So people
Right,
love Jupyter notebooks. Awesome. Okay, so what else do you have to show us today?
Yeah, and then let's talk about a little bit about output rendering. So the first one is enhancement we made to the arrow renderers. And here I have some sample code. As you can tell, I have some mistakes here. And IntelliSense telling me, hey, it's not defined. And also on the right side, right, you see on the scroll bar, there's a little yellow decoration, all indicating that something's wrong. But I still insist to run the code. And after running the code, it's thrown an arrow, and in the arrow you see a call stack. And previously we just rendered the plain text in the output, but now we turn the line numbers into links.
Oh,
so you can click on them to jump into the line where the arrow is thrown. So it's a tiny improvement we made to the arrow rendering, and also we are keep making changes or improving the scenarios to make sure that you have links most of the time, and it's a good way to help you troubleshoot your code.
Yeah, that's so handy because I know this block just has a couple lines in it, but I know these blocks can get very large, so it's very handy when you just let me just click and go straight to that. So that's awesome.
Right, and the next one is actually an exciting news. So if you are a fan of an interactive visualizations in your notebooks, you are probably familiar with iPad widgets, and those widgets make it easy to add like interactive elements like sliders, buttons, or plots to your outputs. And the very latest version of iPad widgets is version 8. And it was released in last August and come with a few new widgets. Like this one is a daytime widget. It also has some color inputs. Along with that, iPad widgets 8 come with some more new styles or layouts. Like for this one, you can change the border color of a button, right? With that said, iPad widgets 8 come with so many good features, but also breaking API changes. So that means it requires us to make changes to our render extension to support iPad widgets 8. Finally, after a long wait, iPad widget 8 support finally lands to vscode stable.
That's awesome. I love seeing all these widgets in the Jupyter notebooks. I feel like a lot of people don't realize everything that you can do with notebooks. This looks so cool. If people are still using iPad widget 7, though, will they have any issues with now using the Jupyter extension?
So I would call it like a smooth transition. So if you are still using iPad widget 7 and you are not motivated to upgrade yet, vscode stable will still work. And then the very moment, say you create a new Python environment, which will install the latest packages, right, and install iPad widget 8, and that will work automatically. So it's transparent to your setup.
Cool. Okay, so one question we have from Doug. Hey, Doug. Said, are these Jupyter features inherited by the Polyglot notebooks, or will people using Polyglot basically need to code to kind of get the kernel supported? Do you know the answer?
The way that I'm wondering, I'm not sure which Polyglot is referring to.
I think the Polyglot notebook extension.
Yeah. So that's the team we work really closely. In VS Code, the notebook support is actually a generic API. And we built a Jupyter extension, which allows us to talk into Jupyter servers. And then the .NET team or Polyglot team, right, they are using the same infrastructure, but at the end, they are talking to a different kernel or execution environment, which is Polyglot. And I think they make their kernels also available in IPY-MB files or the Jupyter notebook files. So I don't quite inherit, you will have all the features from Polyglot in notebooks, in Jupyter notebooks.
Awesome. Cool. Now that's very helpful. It is, Ahmad. I love that. Alvaro's asking if there's a reference to tutorials of what all one can do with notebooks, basically taking notebook to the next level. Would you recommend the documentation on the
I think we have documentation on our website, but recently YouTube started recommending some YouTube shorts to me about how to using notebooks, and they are now all using a lot of them are using VS Code's notebook support, including Burke's one.
Yes,
check them out.
Yeah, Burke has a great data science tutorial on our YouTube channel. So definitely subscribe to the VS Code YouTube channel because we'll post things there. We also will have other live streams that are focused around data science. So lots of good stuff there. So yeah, the link right now is showing to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, awesome. Well, Peng, is there anything else that you'd like to show us with the Jupyter notebooks?
Yeah, that's what I have for today, but we are continuing improving the output rendering in this month and the future months. So we'll keep you posted.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This was awesome. People are really excited about this. And I think, that's one of the reasons I love having people come on to the release parties is so many people join these and don't even know all that's possible with it. So I think that you really kind of showed a lot of great stuff that you can do with Jupyter Notebooks that people weren't aware of. So definitely check out the documentation, check out our YouTube channel to get even more information about that. Thanks, Peng.
Right. Thanks for having me.
All right. So that concludes our guest list for today's release party. Thank you so much to all of our guests who joined. Thank you to our contributors for this February release. And thank you to everyone in the chat for watching. We always enjoy your questions and your feedback. So definitely make sure to try out the new features we listed today. And with that, like I said, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So we'll post this live stream on it so you can go ahead and rewatch this recording. And then we have weekly live streams on other topics. So for example, like data science that we were talking about, we'll post long form videos there as well with tutorials and a bunch of YouTube shorts. And then we actually will also cross post those onto our TikTok channel. So if you're a fan of the short form content, make sure to follow us on TikTok too to get quick tips and tricks, see extensions of the week, and just see us, do some memes, things like that. And one other plug I just want to do before we log off is tomorrow we actually will be having an episode of the Python Pulse. Don Wages actually hosts that, and Sarah Kaiser will be on as a guest. So if you're a Python fan, definitely make sure to tune into that tomorrow. It is on our YouTube channel live stream as well, Twitch, basically wherever you are currently watching this live stream, you can now watch the Python Pulse tomorrow. So as always, thank you all so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure having you. We will see you next week for another live stream and next month for another release party.